Hi friends, I'm Gio, your narrator and writer. This week's story is about trusting yourself, learning to live, and shining without shame. So settle in, take a breath, and let the magic unfold. Please enjoy. 5 p.m., Friday. We climbed out of my grandparents' van in front of the Bernini Hotel. 7 of us, 8 counting me. I drove, headphones on. Not earbuds, but the noise-canceling kind, to keep from having a migraine. 120 miles from home. We're from St. George, over in Utah, about to have the time of our lives. Well, they are, not me. Tonight is the bachelorette party, and tomorrow at 10 in the morning is the wedding. Both here, at the Bernini Hotel. My older sister, and bride-to-be, Jessa, her bridesmaid, Grin, and 5 maids of honor were subsonic loud, their excitement a tsunami of chaos that threatened to make half of Vegas deaf. I was the only guy. I didn't drink. Never liked the taste. My family is so freaking Mormon, we never had it around anyway. Jessa learned to party when she went to college. She drank. A lot. I never told Mom and Dad what she did on weekends. She never told them I was gay. She and her husband weren't having a temple marriage. Mom and Dad nearly disinherited Jessa until she explained that the groom's parents weren't temple worthy and wouldn't be allowed inside for the ceremony. Jessa promised they'd do it on their first anniversary. That was a total lie. I already knew she and her fiancé had been making like husband and wife for months. She wasn't the Molly Mormon they thought she was, and I sure as hell wasn't Peter Priesthood. Mom and Dad would disapprove of both of us. We weren't perfect, but we had each other's backs. Besides, you don't narc on family. Somehow, I got volunteered to be the designated chaperone and driver. I said no, like any sane person would. Dad called it my contribution to the wedding. Your family. I said no. Again. Louder. Mom gave me that pleasant smile she always wore when she wanted her way. It only makes sense. We're getting old and go to bed by 9. Psalm 119 says to rise before dawn. I rolled my eyes. Hell no. Jessa knew better than to ask. She knew me. Her groom? He just shrugged and said he didn't invite me to the bachelor party because there'd be half-naked women. A polite way of saying the gay guy would spoil the mood. He wasn't wrong about the women. Make it half-naked men and I'd be all in. Like the entertainers at the bachelorette party, Jessa was already drooling. I wasn't sure if I was being asked for something, but I refused anyway. My parents begged me one last time. I yelled freaking no with the same force I used when I told the bishop he could shove his mission suggestion somewhere as dark as Timpanogos Cave. I'd confessed my gayness to him back in high school. He thought a mission would cure me. Compassionate and understanding my ass. It still gives me a sour stomach. I haven't been to church, any church, since. I told my parents I wanted to go to college first. They threatened to disown me if I didn't go on a mission. Like Dad did, like Grandpa did, like my aunt did. I called their bluff and moved in with some friends. It's cramped, no elbow room, barely any privacy, but I'm free. I digress. Why would I want to be around 7 drunk and or stoned women the night before the marriage? Or do a favor for a guy who didn't even consider inviting me to his bachelor party? Which was also tonight. Same hotel, different floor. Word of advice, bro. Good way to make a bad impression on your future brother-in-law. Mom and Dad are here too. one of the cheaper rooms, on the ground floor, in the back. Thank God. So why did I finally say yes? The groom's parents, also Mormon, but not as freaking Mormon as Mom and Dad, offered me $1,000 and 2 tickets to the upcoming Killers concert. They even hinted I could take my boyfriend. Too bad he broke up with me. Irreconcilable differences. Said he'd had enough of my snoring and me burning cheesy noodles. It only happened once. Give me a break. Mom and Dad only thought I went to his place to play video games or work on college papers. Show how much they care or notice. Funny how the groom's parents figured out I was gay when my folks hadn't. Too busy being, "Thou shalt be perfect," I guess. I could use the money to afford a better place. That's why I said yes. So here I am, pretending to be the happy, dutiful, closeted brother, while dreading the whole weekend. My gut told me this was a total DIP, disaster in process. While Jessa had her HOA, heaven on acid. It's our secret code, mine and Jessa's. Jessa never did settle. Not when she was 15 sneaking back home and giving me a Chicago Bulls shirt for not saying anything. And definitely not now. But HOA was ours. It meant this was her dream. Only issue, her ideal night was my nightmare in formal wear. An army of bellboys swarmed the van, their libidos practically lining up to escort the nubile bride and her entourage into the air-conditioned sanctuary of the Bernini Hotel. Meanwhile, the guy sweating in cargo shorts? Ignored. No one offered to take my backpack. A valet did ask for the van. I tossed him the keys without breaking stride. Mom and Dad are paying for this weekend anyway. By the time I entered the Bernini, Jessa and her friends had already checked in and headed to her suite. A suite at the Bernini until Sunday morning. Do you know how much that costs? Mom and Dad are going all out. My room was down the hall and blessedly quiet. One bed, big screen TV, nice view of a parking garage, room service, all being paid for by someone else. I ordered a Hawaiian pizza with extra pineapple. Took a quick shower because I had nothing better to do. Changed into cut-off sweats and ate while watching a college baseball game. In bed. All should have been perfect. Maybe it was. I drifted into catatonia. The door clicked as it unlocked. "Tim, do you think it's noticeable?" a man said. "I fell asleep." "Your face is a little pink," another man said. "Might even peel tomorrow. Didn't you use sunscreen, Riker?" "No, Grin. Didn't think I needed to," Riker said. "As long as I'm good tonight. What's in the cards?" Tim yawned. "I'm going to get a shower so I can wake up. Order a pot of caffeine, would you, Riker? And Grin, get the costumes ready." A rustle of clothes. They hadn't noticed me yet. How did they get the key card to my room? The logical solution almost made me laugh out loud. Mom and Dad were saving money. Grin butted in. "Have a pudding cup, butterscotch, and the car says Ace of Wands. New beginnings, especially regarding passion." Tim yawned as if he were stretching. "Ironic. All 3 of us are gay and we are dancing at a bachelorette party." "Does that mean they'll get grabby?" Riker asked. "Let them try," Grin said. "Anything else?" Tim asked. "Go for the pineapple," Grin replied. "I'll set out the usual, Tim. Fast strip tuxedos, thongs, bow ties. What were her colors again? Or do you want to just go with black?" The shower streamed in the bathroom. "Just set the garment bags on the bed," Riker replied, and went quiet. Checking his phone, I guessed. The text says burgundy. Cancel the thongs and get the Speedos, Tim yelled from the shower. Contract or no, I don't trust them to keep their distance. Aren't we getting too old for this? I packed yellow, so yellow it is, Grin said. I just got back from Salt Lake City. I'm not ready either. Tim, Riker, wait a minute. Are we in the right room? It's not just right, because Goldilocks is sleeping in our bed. The contract said 3 entertainers, not 4, right? I opened my eyes. 2 gorgeous men had taken their shirts off and draped them across a chair. Abs, pecs, biceps, tan. Well, one was. The other was lightly sunburned. 3 garment bags lay on the bed, with 3 travel suitcases nearby. I guess the 3rd man was in the shower. Riker, the sunburned man, ripped open his pudding cup. Riker reached into his pocket and pulled out the key card. He read it. We're in the right room, Riker said. Grin sat on the bed, looking at my pizza, then at me. You're connected to the bachelorette party? Jessa? They hired another dancer? No, I'm the brother, Cade, also chaperone and chauffeur, I replied, sitting up in bed. You're the men who are supposed to entertain Jessa's party? Birds of Paradise Entertainment Specialists, Grin said, tossing me a pudding cup. That is when I'm not going to college. Or on road trips with your frat bros, Tim yelled from the other room, shower turning off. Or being the weirdest person in the room, Riker said, snarfing up the last of his butterscotch pudding cup with his tongue. I'm in construction, and my husband, Tim, slaves on a computer all day. It pays the mortgage. Tim stepped out of the bathroom wearing a white Egyptian cotton towel, and only a towel, dripping pure, mind-watering passion. God, look at those shoulders. It took the wheel of a Mack truck to drag my mind out of the gutter. There's 6 of us in Birds of Paradise. You've met Riker and Tim. They're married. My given name is Greenwich, but everybody calls me Grin. We do parties, candygrams, stripograms, birthdays, magic, whatever, Grin said. Tim placed his suitcase on the bed, clicking the latches open. Grin is our weirdness magician. Show Cade your famous trick. Grin pulled a deck of plain playing cards from his suitcase. With one hand, he shuffled them, while covering his eyes. All right, he said, a grin curling at the edges. Let the magic begin. Cade, when's your birthday? November 17th. What does that have to do with anything? Nothing, Grin said, grinning. And everything. If I can guess your card, you buy me pizza. If not, I'll buy you one after the show tonight. You'll enjoy the show. I'm not invited. Grin spread the cards on the bed, one-handed, still covering his eyes. Pick a card, any card. Show Riker and Tim, but not me. Don't worry, I'm not looking. He turned, his back facing me. For a second, I stared at the definition in his shoulder blades, at the hollow valley between them, at the tightness of his ribs. On his right shoulder was a small tattoo, a diamond, a spade, a club, and a heart, in a square tipped on its corner in red, yellow, and black. I picked a card, Ace of Hearts, and showed it to the other guys. Now hide it in your wallet, Grin said. I put it in my wallet and slid my wallet into my pocket. Done. Now look at all the cards and make sure there isn't another in the deck. Then shuffle them. I did, shuffling them twice. Only then did Grin turn around, smiling. He knelt, blew on the cards, never touching them, and backed away. Look through the deck and make sure the Ace of Hearts isn't there. How did you know my card? I guess you have to take me out for pizza now. Just look in the cards. I spread the cards face up and spotted the ace of hearts near the end. How? It wasn't in the deck, and you never touched it. You must have had 2 in there. Nope, only 1. The real question, Tim stated, what's in your wallet? I pulled my wallet out of my pocket and felt what a kid feels on Christmas morning, a feeling I hadn't felt for years, maybe never. I smiled at the absurdity. One glance at Grin revealed he was smiling as well. I couldn't help but laugh. Inside were 4 impossible things: 2 tickets to tonight's late-night showing of the new Batman movie, a Trojan bearskin raw condom, and a folded note. I like pineapple on my pizza too. It's a date. I dropped my wallet onto the bed and simply stared at Grin. The wallet was in my pocket. You never touched it. Grin waved his hands in a mysterious way and replied, Magic. He took a little bow. For my next trick. He did some sleight of hand gesture I couldn't follow, and in his hand was an invitation. I took it and read, You are cordially invited to Jessa's bachelorette party in Vegas. It's going to be wild, ladies. Love, Jessa. I think my jaw dropped to Cleveland. It's best not to think too hard, Tim said. He's gotten sneakier, Riker mumbled. Tim turned back to his suitcase and opened it. Cade, since you're the chaperone, and have an invitation, Grin inserted. Tim glanced at me. You're about Riker's size. Riker, check your bag. This might work. No extra pants here, Riker said, grabbing a slice of pizza. Cade, do you have jeans? No. Tim looked at the garment bags, then at the house phone beside the bed. The boutique probably has some. Probably high-end. We can add it to the bill. What are you talking about? I climbed out of bed, suddenly feeling very outclassed and underdressed. What's your waist? Tim asked. 32? What's going on? Magic, my trim and tight scullery maid, Grin said, a mischievous leer in his eyes as his eyebrows wiggled twice. Consider us your fairy godfathers, and you, Cinderella, are going to the ball. Tim pulled a pair of scissors, a comb, and a straight razor from his suitcase. Riker unearthed a variety of hair products from his own. Grin, of course, drew 3 cards from the deck and spread them across the bed. Knight of Wands, he said, grinning. Bold moves, big energy, and a makeover worthy of a red carpet debut. He flipped the second card with a flourish, his trademark smile hinting at mischief. The sun. Time for a big reveal. Then the third. His smile faltered. The moon reversed. Illusions broken. Clarity achieved, but at a cost. What does that mean? I asked. Grin locked eyes with me. It means life won't go as expected. The barriers you've built around your heart will crumble. There will come a choice, a hard one. Shine without shame, or hide and live with the shame. You don't make any sense, I said. Now you know why his boyfriends don't stick around, Riker muttered. You ready? Grin nodded. Riker reached into his suitcase and handed him a 20-inch wand. Dark polished mahogany, a feather-carved handle, twin blue gems glinting in the light. Grin twirled it with a flourish and pointed it at me. Ready for some real magic? He whispered, Exusito. Time to wake up. The next hour found Tim giving me a salon-worthy hairstyle, Riker a professional shave, and Grin supervising a couple of bellboys bringing up various styles of pants from the boutique. The result? Black slim-fit jeans, a white ruffled tuxedo shirt, black bow tie, a black jacket, black high tops that matched theirs, showcased with the best haircut I've ever had, a shave so close that I didn't even have a shadow, and a confidence I'd never felt before. I didn't recognize the male model in the mirror. We stood in front of my sister's suite. The four of us, identical in black jackets, slim-fit jeans, and high tops, except they wore yellow bow ties. Grin passed out bone-white masks, each one reminiscent of Phantom of the Opera, with a different card marked on the forehead. Grin, a heart, Riker, a club, Tim, a spade, and me, a diamond. Then Grin handed me one more thing. A wedding ring? I vow to honor and protect, he said softly. He wore one, as did Tim and Riker. It keeps the good girls from playing hands-on and makes the bad girls pause. I turned the ring over in my fingers. It was simple, gold, smooth, and just heavy enough to feel like it meant something. Warm and comforting, like it had been left on a windowsill in the sun. Fake commitment to avoid real chaos, I asked. Grin smirked. Something like that. It's armor and a little misdirection. Like your card tricks? Something more serious. It reminds them that you're more than a sex symbol, that you're faithful, loved by someone. You give them a hint of a story, and their minds do the rest. They stop asking questions. There was an inscription inside the band. Ornate, old-fashioned script. I squinted. Tutela? Is that a name? Grin took the ring from my hand and slid it onto my ring finger. Spirit of the saguaro, he whispered. Awaken. I swear I felt the pulse of desert heat bloom beneath my skin. What? Don't worry about it, Riker said. Ours are the same. His wedding present. Grin doesn't always make sense, but he's always right. It felt like it had been waiting for me, I murmured, twisting the ring around my finger. The mask came next. White porcelain, cool against my skin. The diamond symbol sat just above my right brow. Sharp, clean, unapologetic. I looked at the others. 3 men in matching jackets, matching shoes, matching masks, and I realized I didn't just look like I belonged. I felt like I did. Grin adjusted my collar, his fingers brushing my neck. You ready, Ace? I swallowed. As I'll ever be. Riker gave a flirty smile. Ready to shine without shame, boys? All 3 guys chimed. Light 'em up. Tim knocked once. Sharp, deliberate. A woman's voice squealed. They're here! The door opened in a burst of perfume, laughter, and music that beat as fast as my heart. Jessa stood there in a glittering burgundy dress, a bottle of root beer in one hand, and a tiara slightly askew on her head. On the table rested 8 dozen bottles of champagne, 4 6-packs of Victory Golden Monkey Ale, and several 6-packs of Virgil's root beer. A cake shaped like a man's torso, with sparklers for nipples, stood beside a bouquet of 2 dozen roses, each bloom interspliced with a rolled-up condom, like a scandalous party favor. Not to mention the Twinkies scattered around, each one smeared with lipstick like they'd been kissed and discarded. At least half the root beer bottles were already empty. Mom and Dad would have a quadruple bypass coronary at the sight of all this alcohol. Complete DIP. That's disaster in progress for those keeping track. Not to mention what they'd do if they saw me now. A gay entertainer about to dance at a bachelorette party, clothes optional. Priceless. I reached for Grin's hand. He grinned at me. Having fun, Ace? You know it, I said, and stood on my toes to kiss him. Right there, in front of my sister, her bridal party, and anyone else in the hall. The bridal party shrieked like they were on a roller coaster. Tongue, or it didn't happen. Grin winked. In one fluid motion, he supported my back, dipped me low like we were in an old black-and-white movie, and kissed me so hard I saw hearts and sparkles floating around us. I'm in love. We stood, both of us breathless. My mask slipped. Jessa blinked at us. At me. Oh my God. Her eyes widened. Her jaw dropped. Then she giggled. Cade? I gave Sis a little bow. Cinderfella at your service. Undercover chaperone by day, ace by night. Don't blow my cover. The room behind her erupted in squeals and applause. Someone shouted, "Dibs on the tall one." Another voice yelled, "Wait, are they all gay?" Followed by a chorus of giggles. Yep, good thing Mom and Dad aren't here. Jessa paused. 3 full seconds, just staring. Not like a big sister sizing up her kid brother, but like someone seeing a stranger who looked familiar. Then her eyes softened. Holding mine, she lowered her chilled root beer and saw me. Really saw me. A faint smile flickered. She hadn't touched the champagne. I wondered if she was just pacing herself, or if there was something she hadn't told me yet. I was both ecstatic and sad at the same time. Mom and Dad would disown her when they found out. I might be her only family. Jessa pulled me into a hug, nearly knocking the rest of my mask off. Damn, you clean up okay, little bro. Like actually hot. What the hell happened? My magic godfathers, I said, glancing at Grin, grinning just like he did, and was doing now. Then a little more serious added, I just wanted you to have your HOA. Heaven on acid. Our code for joy that didn't ask permission, for chaos that felt like freedom, for a brother and sister who learned to survive perfection by breaking the rules, together. How far along are you? I whispered. She hesitated before whispering back. 8 weeks. I'm scared. Does he know? She nodded, tears gleaming in her eyes, but refusing to fall. And his parents. You know how Mom and Dad are. I haven't told them. I don't dare. I pulled my sister close, not knowing what to say. Their first grandkid, and neither of us wanted to tell them. Not because we didn't care, but because they shattered our trust a long time ago. You won't have to do it alone, I said softly. I'm here, sis. Break it up, Grin winked. Time to show off your moves, Ace. We'll talk later, I replied, letting go of my sister. Ready, Grin. With a flourish, he waved the wand. Where did that come from? And yelled, Lights, camera, music. Hold on to your tighty-whities because it's Celebramus Noctum, Neon Demon. The lights dimmed, shadowy, mysterious, filled with colored swirls and spirals like haunted multicolored orbs floating through the haze. The music changed, heavy, a velvet beat wrapped in industrial steel, pulsing with its own heart. Dark, techno, loud, throbbing, impossible to stand still. Moaning. Tim, Riker, and Grimm gave into the beat, into the erotic frenzy, their moves precise, choreographed, so sharp they sparkled, alive with the music. Riker pulled me in. I don't know how, I murmured. Grin adjusted my mask, so once again we looked the same. Tim yelled, 1, 2, 3, 4, go. The music didn't just move me. It possessed me. I wasn't dancing. I was alive. I moved as they did, or they moved as I did. We were electric, performing as a troupe, as one. I copied Grin. They copied me. We moved together like we'd practiced for months. Fast, furious, the beat pounding inside. Their voices blurred into the bass line. All I heard was the music and the beat of my own becoming. Erotic, dark, loud, thumping. The light orbs flew around us, between us. The walls strobed like a disco ball gone rogue. Grin and I danced as one, Riker and Tim too. We moved in sync, and suddenly, as if by spell, their jackets vanished, landing in a pile by the door. So did mine. My sister screamed, laughed, jumping up and down. "That's my brother! Go, Cade!" Someone catcalled. Several toasted us with champagne and beer. As wild as they were, they kept their distance. Tim nailed a standing backflip. Riker dropped low, spinning and sliding across the floor in a blur of limbs. Grin street danced, low and fluid, balancing on one arm as his legs sliced the air. As one, they paused. Then, "Ready," Riker said. "Get set," Grin replied. "Go," Tim shouted. Their footwork was precise, their choreography crystal perfect, chaos organized round a heartbeat of precision and fire. I watched in awe. Feet flashing in time, Grin pulled me in. "Can't forget our ace of diamonds." In an instant, their shirts joined the jackets. Mine included. Jessa screamed, pure euphoria. The others shrieked, a riot of noise, of sound, of footwork. The show lasted more than an hour. We were sweating, breathless and thirsty. I downed a bottle of root beer in one gulp. During the entire party, the ladies kept their distance, but that didn't stop them from looking or screaming. Afterward, I sat on the couch, Jessa close, holding a pillow over her stomach. "Are you still scared?" I asked, taking her hand. She looked like a frightened little girl, even though she was 24. She leaned back, the pain just behind her eyes. "Remember that prom when I was a senior and you were a sophomore?" "Yeah," I said. She dabbed at her eye with the tissue. "They sat me down and told me that if I didn't come back morally pure, not to come back at all." I remembered similar conversations growing up. I tried to keep the disgust out of my voice, but I failed. Do you think they ever loved us? Or were they just trying to build the perfect, righteous family? "I don't know," she said softly. "That wasn't your first time, was it?" "No." She almost smiled. "But they always believed I was their perfect little princess. Dad wouldn't even let me date until I was 17. "Same here. I've never been Dad's ideal Peter priesthood." She looked down at her stomach. "I'm really nervous. What happens when they find out?" "After tomorrow, they don't matter," I said. "You'll have a new family, and remember, we're a team. I'm here to make sure you have your HOA. She smiled and squeezed my hand. We talked about the pregnancy, about brother-sister stuff, about the wedding. Everyone in the room knew about the pregnancy and about me being gay, but no one said a word. Our own conspiracy of silence. 15 minutes later, as Grin, Riker, Tim, and I were about to leave, Jessa took my hand. "Promise me you'll find your HOA too." Back at the room, we showered and changed into fresh clothes. Tim and Riker took off, while Grin and I climbed back into our tuxedos and rode the elevator to the top floor, to the Regal restaurant. I'd never been here before. Normal people couldn't afford this kind of place. The Regal restaurant, a 2 Michelin star institution and the crown jewel of Vegas fine dining. The wait list was longer than most marriages. Perched on the top floor of the Bernini Hotel, it offered an unparalleled view of the Strip. White tablecloths, polished silverware, and a wine collection that could make France jealous. Tie required. Grin adjusted mine. The maitre d' owes me a favor. Time to shine, Ace, without shame. What was the favor? He needed to draw a card, Grin said, grinning, and discovered he didn't need to draw one after all. You don't make any sense, I laughed, straightening Grin's yellow bow tie. As long as it breaks omelets, it doesn't matter. He wrapped his arms around me. We were already close. Now we were kissing close. And we did. Like a kiss in a dream that lasts forever, and tastes of strawberry wine. The gentle buzz of fireflies, a flurry of mist around us. We stood in eternity, connected by a feeling I dared not name. Then we stepped forward, past a man in Armani and a woman draped in diamonds and gold, a couple that screamed Monaco money, and another pair I recognized from TV, the famous Mr. and Mrs. Young, car dealership royalty, and easily among the richest people in Nevada, if not the nation. Grin led us to the front of the line, whispered something to the maitre d', and we were escorted to a table for two by the window. A waiter appeared almost instantly to take our order. "That must have been some card," I said. "How do we pay for all this?" "Tonight, with a dance," Grin replied, not grinning. He took my hand and led me to the floor. "Clarity is for tomorrow. Our future begins the day after, if you'll have me." What followed was the most incredible night I've ever had. We got back to my room around 3 a.m. I set my phone alarm for 8. The wedding was at 10. "Roll them over here," a voice said, waking me up. The lights flicked on. Grin and I were warm under the blankets, my head resting in the crook of his arm. My skull throbbed. A used condom, wrapped in a paper towel, sat on the nightstand. The TV played some random YouTube mix in the background. Deja vu with a hangover. I needed coffee and Tylenol, and then more coffee. Lots more coffee. "What's going on?" I asked. "I'm sorry," Grin said. The moon reversed. Clarity. "Oops, sorry, sirs," said a bellhop, wheeling in a garment trolley overflowing with tuxedo bags. "We got the right room?" another asked. "Jess's wedding? I'm Cade, her brother," I said, rubbing my eyes. "It's Mom and Dad saving money again. What time is it?" One bellhop stared at Grin and me like we were a glitch in the Matrix. The other busied himself adjusting the space between bags, deliberately not looking our way. Both were blushing. "A little after 7, the first one said. "This is our first delivery. We've got 2 more trolleys, tuxedos and dresses and stuff." "And the makeup artiste," a woman announced, rolling in a massive suitcase. She caught sight of us, blinked, and spun on her heel. "I'll go wake the bride. We'll be back in 15. Be decent." "We're already here. What's going on?" Jessa called from the hallway. She walked in, took one look at me and Grin tangled in the bed, and burst into giggles. Somebody found their HOA. Then she clutched her stomach, stopped smiling, and bolted for the bathroom. The bridesmaid entered, glanced at us, and ran after Jessa. "It's okay, girl. Let me pull your hair back. Cade, call room service and get Jessa something simple to eat. Maybe order some more towels." "What kind of food?" I asked. "Crackers, ginger tea, something light. Hurry." I jumped out of bed and into my boxer briefs. Grin did the same, then caught me by the shoulder. "Breathe. Relax. She needs a German Shepherd right now, not a Chihuahua." I called room service, ordered what Jessa needed, plus gallons of coffee, plus some steak, egg, and cheese breakfast burritos. Enough for all of us. The makeup artiste set up a chair, pulled a table over, and lined up her makeup brushes. One of the maids of honor took the chair. The bellhops wheeled in a second trolley. Jessa was quietly sick in the bathroom, though the noise of the TV muffled it. I looked for the rest of my clothes. A mix of tangled fabric spread across the floor, intertwined with grins in obscene positions. I smiled, remembering last night. Grin frowned, took my hand, the one with the wedding ring still on it, and whispered, "Spirit of the saguaro, awaken. Remember, you're a German Shepherd." Mom and Dad walked in, their gaze laser-targeted on our hands, on the wedding rings, on both of us in boxer briefs, on the rumpled bed, on our clothes littering the floor in loosely erotic positions. The math clicked in their brains. 2 + 2 = 6. Their carefully constructed reality had just changed. They hadn't noticed Jessa yet. I had to protect her, especially today. "Mom, Dad, this is Grin, the man I love." I held up my ring so they would get the wrong idea. They must focus on me. I'm gay and came out to my friends back in high school. Why did you think I moved out so fast? To get away from your holier-than-thou judgment. I prayed Jessa would hear the confrontation and stay hidden. The color drained from Mom's face. Dad's face went scarlet. "How dare you disgrace the family?" "We stopped being a family years ago," I said. "What was your solution to everything? Keep us locked up or else? Kick us out? You shamed us for existing. Did you even want kids?" "It's time to shine without shame," Grin whispered, standing behind me and lightly kissing my neck. Mom stretched to her full height. She was shorter than me, but she still managed to make me feel inferior. "We didn't raise you to live like this. You will respect your parents." "No," I said, somehow managing to keep from yelling. I channeled Grin. "Would you like to draw a card?" I could feel Grin's chuckle. His cards appeared in his hands, as if conjured. He began shuffling through them. "Say stop and discover what the fates have to say." Dad marched over to me, thumb pointing at my chest. "You will stop this nonsense and get out. You will not defile this holy day." "No," I said, standing up to Dad. "You're not as holy as you want others to believe." Dad's right hand moved forward, faster than I could follow, to slap me, or try to. His hand didn't quite make it. He pulled it back, as if stung by cactus needles. His hand connected with the cards. Instead, one flew out, landing face up. Grin leaned forward to read it. 5 of Cups. Endings. The groom rushed in, looking about. "I just heard. Is Jessa okay? Where is she?" His mom was with him and began shooing people out. "Let's give them some space." The toilet flushed. Jessa opened the door, pale, weak, her bridesmaid guiding her by the shoulders. "I'm fine, love. I need to lay down a minute." "Some food's on the way, sis," I said, glaring at my parents with as much resentment as I could. "Just take it easy." "Chimichangas always grant me peace," Grin offered. "Help me with the bed, Ace." "Ace?" Mom inquired, her mouth narrowing. Jess gave Mom her most innocent smile. "His stripper name, of course. He's quite the dancer, but you wouldn't know that. It's beneath your standards." We pulled the covers up, rearranged the pillows to make a comfortable seat, and Jessa sat on the corner closest to the restroom, hand on her stomach. The groom sat next to her, rubbing her shoulders. Mom kept getting paler, mouth growing tighter by the second. Dad's eyebrows snarled together. His nostrils flared. Mom whispered to Dad in a tone so low I don't think she thought anyone would hear. "Cade is gay, and Jessa is pregnant? Our ward will think we failed." "Cade," Grin said, picking up his cards and setting them on the table. "Have you ever noticed that some people track mud even when their Bible is clean? Let's get dressed, so I can undress you again." "Before the wedding?" I asked. "Did you want me to undress you during?" Grin said, grinning. Dad was about to answer, but kept his mouth shut. Jessa made a second run to the toilet, bridesmaid trailing. "We'll take care of things here," I said to the groom. "Make sure everything else is ready, okay?" "Thanks," the groom said, and left. A bellhop wheeled in the order, filled the air with the scent of spicy eggs and bacon, along with the scent of jasmine. The TV played, a commercial about running shoes. Half-dressed, I poured the tea and knocked on the bathroom door. The bridesmaid took it from me with a nod. Mom and Dad just stood there, sour-faced and silent. Grin tossed me a breakfast burrito and took one for himself. She okay? If it's this bad this early, I said, does that mean she's going to have twins? I hate you, Kate, Jessa yelled from behind the door. Mom and Dad turned, whispered something to each other, and walked out. As the door closed, I heard Mom mutter, "Did you see the wedding rings? And to a stripper? I feel faint." I joined Grin, taking his hand. He looked at me, really looked at me, as if he could see every hurt, every trauma, every joy, my total life. Looking for clarity, I asked. It's your turn to draw a card. He handed me the cards. I spread them on the bed and waved over them with an imaginary wand. Abracadabra, I said, grinning. Grin let his fingers do the walking, slid a card out from the rest, and turned it over. The star. That means, I whispered, heaven on acid. His kiss held warmth, love, and maybe a little bit of magic. Thank you, friends. I'm Gio, friendly neighborhood writer and narrator. If you get a second, stop by the new channel, Loud and Proud L3Q. Links in the description. It's a collection of 4-minute stories put together by Copilot and me, and as always, narrated by me. Find a little bit of magic today, because you're worth it. I love you all. Peace, my friends.